Right now at 6, a family opens up to News 3 after a loved one is killed in a murder-suicide shooting over the weekend.
While communities across our region are still cleaning up from this summer's historic flooding, this rain has many worried as water starts to gather in some spots.
This is News 3 at 6.
And our other top story this evening, the Brewers are the National League Central Division champions after a big win over the Chicago Cubs this afternoon.
Sports Director Jay Wilson will join us here in the studio in just a few minutes with the game recap. Plus, we have live reaction from fans down in Chicago. But first, we turn to meteorologist Dana Fulton, who's been tracking today's storms for us. Dana?
We've had quite a bit of rain move on overhead over the last several hours. A very soggy start to October. Right now, we actually have a flash flood warning in Grant County. So in the southwestern corner of the state until 8:15. Already getting a few reports of some isolated spots with water on the roadways, including Highway 81. So please, if you're in that area, drive safely. We have reports in Grant County of over 3 inches of rainfall in the last 24 hours, and more rain is on the way as this line of showers and storms continues to move right on over the state. With the heaviest rainfall there, it seems to just continue to dump on that southwest corner of the state. So again, that flash flood warning is in effect for Grant County until 8:15. Please be careful if you're in that area. We have some lightning popping up as well, so we do have some thunderstorms out there right now in downtown Madison, seeing some light rainfall under a very cloudy sky for us today. All of this rain just continuing to move on through. As I mentioned, downtown seeing showers right now. A little bit of a dreary day for us. Afternoon high temperatures were in the mid-50s. Just couldn't bust through that line. We stayed a little cool because of the cloud deck overhead. Tomorrow we are looking at things being just a little warmer and a little less rainfall for us, but we're going to take a closer look at the next few hours and the rain that's ahead for us in just a few minutes.
Dana, thank you. Madison police believe a man shot a woman before killing himself over the weekend. They were called to a townhome on Madison's east side along the 3100 block of Webb Avenue Saturday. That's where they found the bodies of 39-year-old James Tony Sykes and 34-year-old Sherry Waller. News 3's Madeline O'Neill spoke with Waller's family and can tell us what they'd like everyone to know this evening.
It's like my other half is gone.
A close-knit family.
This is a baby picture of me and her.
Sharing laughter.
Oh my God.
Tears.
Like it's so hard to believe.
And memories.
You see how you see me?
Yeah,
We never not together.
2 peas in the pond.
Photos and stories of Sherry Waller.
A funny person. Yeah. A dancer. That she is.
She's a beauty. Like, she's a beauty. She brings the joy out of everybody.
That's what they have left to remember her by after her murder Saturday.
I'm a victim of domestic violence. September 29, 2010, me and my sister were stabbed by my ex-boyfriend. I had a skull fracture, cracked rib, and my lungs collapsed. September 29, 2018, I lost my sister. Exactly 8 years.
Previana Lawrence is Sherry's little sister, but says she and Sherry might as well have been twins.
I call my sister every morning.
Saturday morning was no different.
I was on the phone when my sister got shot.
Still today, Lawrence picks up the phone.
I still call her, leave her voicemail, text her good night and good morning.
Waller's family members say 2 of her 5 children were home at the time of the shooting.
And it's hard, like my 3-year-old niece come to me and say, "Well, my mama."
According to Madison police, Waller was dating James Tony Sykes, who has a history of domestic crimes, for about a year before he shot her and then himself in a domestic-related homicide Chief Mike Covell says is all too common.
This is yet another evidence in my mind of that very sad and tragic fact.
She definitely one who her memory is definitely gonna live on. Like her spirit is gonna live on.
While sharing Waller's memories,
Enough is enough.
family members also want to put out a message.
I just want any woman, just please get out. Life is so short.
Though family members I spoke with say Waller never confided to them that she may have been in an abusive relationship, they urge others to speak out. A GoFundMe page has been set up to help the family. You can find that link on our website.
All right, Maddie, thank you.
Just a day after the murder of Sherry Waller, Wisconsin's domestic violence homicide report was released. The number of total deaths was down last year, but many believe more work needs to be done. Amanda Quintana is in the news center with some of the heartbreaking statistics.
Yeah, definitely heartbreaking. This report is released on the first day of Domestic Violence Awareness Month. It shows domestic violence claimed 62 deaths across the state in 2017. Although speakers said at the announcement today, one death is too many, they hope by seeing these numbers, communities will take the steps to prevent more of these deaths.
Sarah Quartz-San, age 43.
Dizon Taylor, age 15.
62 names, mothers, fathers, children, lost to domestic violence last year.
If you asked me a year and a half ago, I would have said my father could never hurt anyone, much less my mother.
Each one taken too soon.
My mother had filed for divorce a few weeks before my father took her life.
More than 42% of the time, once a relationship had ended or when someone was planning to leave.
We often hear people say, why doesn't the victim just leave? And it flies in the face of what people say when we recognize that leaving often is a critical trigger point that may result in homicide.
These statistics are released each year, this time showing domestic violence was linked to a death every 6 days in Wisconsin. But these aren't just names or numbers. It's a way to reflect on ways these deaths could have been prevented. Consistent with past reports, guns remain a big focus.
That this year, that rate is at 70%. That is one of the highest rates we have seen for firearms use.
In 11 of the shooting deaths, the gunman wasn't legally allowed to have a gun, while many of the cases presented risk factors associated with lethal violence, including threats, stalking, strangulation, things advocates want to see law enforcement vow to pay attention to.
It is something that undoubtedly can save lives. It's the reason why the men and women who wear uniforms put that badge on their chest. As community members, we need to be looking out for every single one of us.
And Domestic Abuse Wisconsin is trying to get all counties to implement a protocol called the lethality assessment. It includes a list of 11 questions officers can ask victims. Depending on their answers, it's supposed to help them understand who is the highest risk for homicide. They can then connect them with a local advocate group, and hopefully this will help prevent some of those tragedies. Now, right now, 21 counties have implemented that protocol, but Dane County is not one.
Very powerful story, Amanda. Thank you.
Thanks.
A Madison man and a teenager accused of bringing a gun to a fight near La Follette High School were in court today. A 16-year-old was shot during that fight. Cash bonds were set for both 17-year-old Jamie Hayes and 21-year-old Duan Briggs at $50,000 in Dane County Court. Briggs, the alleged shooter, was given conditions that he may not come into contact with any weapons and cannot be near La Follette High School. Both men have not yet been charged. Initial hearings will be scheduled for Wednesday at the very latest. Madison School District holding a meeting tonight to talk about recent incidents involving guns at La Follette High School. Anyone with any parents who live near the school could share their concerns with police and La Follette staff tonight. The meeting starts at 6:30. It's taking place at Senate Middle School. That's on Flom Road.
The Milwaukee Brewers and their fans are celebrating tonight now that the team is the NL Central champions.
The team's hot end to September, really all of September, carried over to the first day of October today. Sports Director Jay Wilson joining us now with a recap of game 163. Jay, it was a good one.
Talk about a team on a roll.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Hot.
No one's been hotter than the Milwaukee Brewers the last month, and today the Brewers won their 8th straight game, and it was a big one. The Brewers beat the Chicago Cubs in Wrigley Field to win the National League Central Division. It was a classic playoff game. 1-1 in the 8th when Lorenzo Cain tattooed one right up the middle for a base hit. Orlando Arcia, who had 4 hits, scores. Ryan Braun added another RBI to hand a 2-run lead to Josh Hader, who got the final 6 outs. Here's the last one. Anthony Rizzo had homered earlier, but he didn't quite get this one. Keon Broxton gets the final out, and the Brewers win 3-1. They earn a couple of days rest before the National League Division Series begins Thursday night at Miller Park. The Dodgers are leading the Rockies in the NL West tiebreaker 5-0 in the 8th. The winner of that game plays the Cubs at Wrigley Field tomorrow night in the National League wild card game. The Brewers were 5 games behind the Cubs on Labor Day, but they won 20 of their last 27 games to win the National League Central Division title. And later in sports, we're going to hear from Ryan Braun on the Brewers winning the Central Division title.
That was a very exciting day of baseball, Jay.
Everybody gathered around the TVs here, that's for sure.
That was quite a day, Jay. Thanks. Our coverage of the Brewers in the postseason is just getting started. We'll be right back with more after this.
It's been 1 year since the mass shooting at a music festival in Las Vegas.
The shooter perched in a hotel room when he started firing at the 22,000 people below. Many of them hurt. 58 people lost their lives. There have been memorial services in honor of the victims all day long. A woman from our area was at that music festival, continues to honor the lives that were lost. Kim Linz, an Edgewood High School grad, grew up in Mazomanie. She's now a middle school principal in Manhattan Beach, California. Kim was at the concert with friends and coworkers. She did manage to escape to safety, but a special education teacher at her school was killed. She shared with us how her school, her community, has dealt with the tragedy in the year since those frantic moments in Las Vegas a year ago today.
I realized that I was alone. It is strange in those moments. You just have this weird realization. And so I called my husband because I was worried I was going to get shot and that I would be alone. And I wanted to make sure I had someone on the phone that knew to call 911.
Kim sharing her story, how she's doing 1 year after the Las Vegas shooting. Join us for that story tonight on News 3 at 10.
We've had quite a bit of rainfall so far today. A very soggy start to October, and we're not out of the woods just yet. Expecting showers and thunderstorms over the next few hours. I'm going to take a closer look at our Doppler radar and, of course, the forecast for the rest of the week in just a few minutes.
Meteorologist Dana Fulton is here with a look at a soggy start to October.
Absolutely. We've had quite a bit of rain slide overhead, so much so, in fact, we actually have a flash flood warning in Grant County right now until 8:15 this evening. The parts of Grant County have already received 3 inches of rain, even more for some isolated areas. That's just one of the reports I've picked up so far. And we are expecting again to see more showers for us over the next few hours. So please, if you are in Grant County, do understand flash flood warning is a very serious issue because that's when the water rises very, very rapidly and the rainfall continues to slide on over Grant County as well as much of central and southern Wisconsin. So we had the chance to see potentially more flash flooding concerns over the next few hours. Nothing so far has been issued or triggered, but that's something we are going to continue to watch because these showers are just moving northeast in the last 3 hours, bringing quite a bit of rainfall for us. That's why today is still an alert day for us overnight as the rain concerns continue to move on overhead. A little bit of lightning mixed on in there as well, so it's not just rain. We are talking about some thunderstorms and also the potential for some stronger wind gusts mixed in with those thunderstorms. Rainfall totals much of the area under 2.5 inches across that band there, but again, parts of Grant County already have seen close to 3 inches of rainfall. Much of Dane County in that more 1 to 1.5 inch range. The further south in Dane County, some areas seeing 2 and 2.5, but much of the area still at that 1.5. The further north go and the further south, those rainfall totals diminish pretty quickly. It's just this band coming on through, and that's an image I know looks all too familiar a few weeks ago now. Of course, when we were dealing with the flooding, when we have that band, when we have tracking storms like that, that's when we start to have flash flooding concerns where the rain just keeps falling in the same area. And that's what's happening right now in Grant County and why we have that flash flood warning in effect until 8:15. This is all as a front just south of Wisconsin continues to move east. Not lifting too far north to really warm us up today, but certainly pumping a lot of moisture right into Wisconsin. So we're going to continue to see showers and thunderstorms through the rest of the evening. Overnight, we'll slowly start to dry up into early Tuesday morning. A few light isolated showers certainly possible for us early Tuesday, but otherwise just a cloudy sky overhead and will stay cloudy throughout the day. Overnight, the chance for a few more showers to build back in heading into Wednesday. Wednesday is when the warmer air really shifts on in for us. So for the next several hours, heading throughout the overnight hours into Tuesday morning, some areas could see up to 1 inch of rain. Notice, though, that the rainfall total is starting to pick up more along the eastern side. So we're almost done with the heavy rainfall on the western side of the state, and that's good news because they've already seen enough for the last 24 hours. Our severe potential really staying south of Wisconsin, but starting to cross just above that line. We're under a slight risk for severe weather tonight. Again, the heavy rainfall and the potential for some really strong wind gusts are primary concern with these thunderstorms. Downtown Madison, cloudy and rainy currently. Because of that cloud deck, temperatures only getting into the mid-50s today. We're still in the mid to low 50s. We won't drop too much overnight because of the clouds overhead. 52 for overnight lows heading into Tuesday. Afternoon highs will be in the mid-60s for us tomorrow. About 64 is what we're looking at for the high potential there, with the chance for showers very early on and very late in the day. Showers will linger late into the day into Wednesday with that storm potential for us throughout the day on Wednesday, especially overnight. A little warmer, and then we cool down as we head towards the end of the week and into the weekend.
Are Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy getting along all right? We'll hear McCarthy's response to some of Rodgers' comments in sports.
News 3.
The Brewers and Cubs played each other for the 20th time this season this afternoon at Wrigley Field. But this by far was the most important game, and the Brewers won it to win the National League Central Division and get home field advantage for the National League Division Series. Yesterday is October 1st. It's only the 5th time in franchise history the Brewers have played in the postseason. Yuli Chachin pitched a great game, except for this. Anthony Rizzo hits a rope against the wind and into the right field seats to tie the game at 1 in the bottom of the 5th. But the Brewers rally in the 8th. Lorenzo Cain hit this one right on the screws. Look at the tail on that thing. Orlando Arcia, who had 4 hit scores, 2-1 Brewers. And there are those who say Ryan Braun never gets a clutch hit. Well, take that. Braun's single brings home a big insurance run. It's 3-run Brewers, and they let Josh Hader close the door for the last 6 outs. The last one's a little scary, but Rizzo's fly ball isn't nearly as deep as that other one. Keon Broxton makes the catch. The Brewers are the National League Central Division champions with a 3-1 win over the Cubs. Now they wait to host the National League Division Series starting Thursday at Miller Park.
Like the last one was really cool, but this one is that much more meaningful. This was our goal from the beginning of the year. Put ourselves in a position where we weren't in a one-game coin flip type scenario. So this one is really cool. It's really special. Everybody here's contributed, and we've earned it.
So the Brewers' 3-1 win gets them home field advantage for the best of 5 National League Division Series starting Thursday at Miller Park. We won't know their opponent until tomorrow. The Dodgers lead the Rockies in the NL West tiebreaker game. The loser of that game plays the Cubs at Wrigley Field in the wild card game tomorrow. Then that winner tomorrow faces the Brewers in the NLDS. Fans from all over Wisconsin are celebrating tonight after today's big win. Rose Schmidt joins us live from Wrigley Field in Chicago. Hi, Rose.
Well, Jay, it's hard to put into words just how excited those Brewers fans were after that game ended just a few hours ago. They were chanting and cheering and screaming, "Let's go Brewers," as they ran down these streets here in front of Wrigley Field. And of course, this was a game that all eyes were watching in this area, back in Wisconsin. And here, we went to a bar just about a mile from here called Will's Northwoods Inn, which is kind of a home away from home for all of you Wisconsin fans who come here to the Chicago area. They are constantly watching Packers games, Badger games, and of course today the Brewers game. And we spoke with fans who told us they never imagined that a win would happen today in their wildest dreams. This is a win they weren't expecting, but of course they were very, very happy to get, and they're glad that it's going to continue for the rest of the week. They're hoping to get another win the rest of the week. All right, I'm going to send it back to you.
All right, that's Rose Schmidt at Wrigley Field. Thanks, Rose. The Packers beat Buffalo 22-0 yesterday, but you'd never know it hearing Aaron Rodgers after the game. Rodgers said the Packers were terrible on offense because they had only 22 points despite rolling up over 400 yards of offense. Some have suggested it's part of a growing rift between Rodgers and head coach Mike McCarthy. Today, McCarthy had his weekly Monday news conference.
I mean, I have good relationships, proper relationships with all my players. So Aaron and I have gone through a lot of years together. So I feel good about our relationship. I think you'll always recognize individuals' frustration with the ability to have the day that that you hope to have all the time.
The Badger football game at Michigan a week from Saturday, October 15th, will be a 6:30 p.m. Central Time start with the game televised on ESPN. This Saturday, Nebraska is at Camp Randall for another 6:30 p.m. kickoff. The Prep Mania High School football game of the week, Friday night, Stoughton at Monona Grove in a battle in the Badger South Conference. Will be live from Monona Friday night, 7 o'clock on TVW and channel3000.com. And the new look of the NBA debuted last night in San Diego. LeBron James in his new Los Angeles Lakers uniform. He made his preseason debut against the Denver Nuggets, played 15 minutes, scored 9 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. The Nuggets beat the Lakers 124-107 as LeBron James starts a new chapter in his NBA career. That's going to take some getting used to.
Yeah, it looks different, doesn't it? Seeing him in the gold uniform. All right, final check of the forecast out there. It's keep raining.
Yes, definitely raining outside right now. We do have a flash flood warning still in effect for Grant County until 8:15 tonight. A lot of rain in the forecast for the next several hours, and then we slowly start to dry up overnight under a cloudy sky. Tomorrow, temperatures will be in the mid-60s, a little more mild. Shower chances creeping back in later on in the evening for Wednesday. Wednesday will be quite a bit warmer, close to 80 for afternoon highs, and very windy, even gusty. Gusts up to about 85 miles per hour possible Wednesday afternoon. We'll mellow out a little more into the mid-60s with rain chances for the end of the week and into this weekend. All of these rainfall totals continue to just add up and add up and add up, so we are going to continue to watch the potential for any flash flood watches or warnings through the rest of the evening.
All right, Dana, thanks.
We'll see you back here at 10.
Download the new Channel 3000 app and get alerted on your mobile device the minute news breaks. Wherever you go, be the first to know with Channel 3000.